Finding yourself is not a linear or quick process. It takes trials and errors, and sometimes a lot of them. I've been on this journey for a long time now, and I found some tools that make self discovery a lot easier. And in today's video, I'm going to share them with you so that you can finally figure out for yourself who you truly are. Welcome to my channel. My name is Dolores. I'm currently in training to become a psychological counselor, and I also hold a university degree in education and psychology. And on this channel, I'm sharing practical tips with you that will help you to get more clarity and to live your most authentic life. What do you think when you hear an authentic life? I believe the answer would differ from person to person. So let's define this term a little bit so that we talk about the same thing here. Authentic living is not having your dream job, living in your dream city with your dream partner and having all the material things that you want. Although these things can be a consequence of you living authentically, I don't think that these things define you or make an authentic life. I think sometimes we can get into this trap of thinking that once we have all those things, then we are authentic, then we have this authentic life. But your personality, who you are, is not defined by your things. It's not something on the outside. You can live authentically in whatever situation you currently are. Knowing who you are comes from within, and this inner knowing is going to shape your reality. It's not the other way around. Living authentically, to me, always means to do the best you can in this moment according to your values. So to truly find out who you are and what your values are, I think it's very helpful to journal about it. Really ask yourself some questions, some deep questions about what you value in life. And once you are clear about your values, then choose the things that are in accordance to those values and not the things that seem to be you on the outside, that seem to be the perfect job for you or the perfect partner for you. Because I found out that sometimes what I think defines me or what I think is perfectly authentic for me might not be in reality. Maybe it was just my idea that it would be perfect. Okay, so now that we have defined what living authentically means, let's talk about some tools that will help you to figure out who you are. And these tools are actually quite fun. I know that finding your values and reflect on your values in life can be quite a huge task and it can be quite difficult to really figure out what you value in life and what you really want. But the tools I'm going to talk about are a little bit more lighthearted, and I would say they are a little bit more of a playful approach to finding yourself. Probably my most favorite tool is astrology. And I started to get interested in astrology when I was a kid. I remember that I had this Aquarius book, and I loved reading it and I wanted it to resonate so badly, but a lot of passages in the book were just not me. I could not really identify myself with all the Aquarius aspects, but I became very interested in it. And when I got older, I started to dig a little bit deeper into astrology. And I found out that it's not only our sun sign that defines our character. There are so many other influences. And this is funny because once I learned about my rising sign and my moon sign, I understood myself so much better. So many things suddenly made sense. So many aspects that were not fitting into the Aquarius description suddenly made sense. And the more I learned about astrology, the clearer the picture got. And I think it's also a fun aspect of astrology because you have so many influences and so many vague descriptions. It's kind of open and you can always take what resonates with you and leave out the rest. Because like that, you will figure out who you really want to be. You can figure out which aspects you like and which aspect you want to represent in your life. And I think that is the whole point of astrology. I definitely think it's a tool that can be helpful to define who you are, or defined values that you want to have in your life, and the aspects that you want to strengthen in your character. And maybe it will also show you which aspects you don't like and which aspects you want to work on. So yeah, I really love it. I would recommend to seek out an astrologer and maybe do a full session, maybe have your chart explained completely. That was something that was very, very valuable and very supportive for me personally. But if you don't want to invest in a professional astrologer, you can also find so many resources on the internet that are free. I found, for example, a YouTube channel from a girl called Emily. She talks about all the different placements and all the different planets, and it really gives you a broader picture what astrology can mean. I will link her channel down below if you're interested. And there are also free tools like AstroSeek on the internet where you can create your birth chart. You can Google it. You will find so many videos and resources that will help you out. So yeah, if you are the slightest bit interested in astrology, I would highly recommend to dive a little bit deeper, because it might bring you so much closer to yourself. And besides that, it can also help you to understand other people so much better. Now, another tool that is a little bit similar to astrology, because it also is linked to astrology, is tarot, or even any other cards. When you look at a card and you would have to describe what's on it, you think creatively. And this will give you access to your subconscious and to your truth. So, for example, if I were to ask you how you feel, maybe you would describe things a little bit more positive than they are, or a little bit more negative than they are. But if you could choose a card that resonates with you at this moment in time, and you were to describe this card, you are not rationalizing it. You just talk about the card and what you see in it. And this activates your right hemisphere, and you will get access to your subconscious. So the things that you say will be very true. They will be very authentic, because the information is not blocked by rational thinking. So maybe you could try out tarot for yourself, read the cards for yourself. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You could randomly pick some cards and see what you see in those cards, and really go with your first idea. Don't overthink it. Just take the first thoughts that you have, because they are the most accurate. And you could even lay out the cards face up and choose like that. Just choose the cards that are speaking to you. And after you have made your own thoughts, you can always go and check what the meaning of the cards is. And then again, you can just take what resonates with you and leave out the rest. And then the last tool, and probably the most important tool that I want to talk about, is your body. It's the one tool that is always with you and that costs nothing. And we have always access to it. And basically, your body will never give you false information. If you have any questions about yourself, about your life, your body always knows. The thing is that we oftentimes don't listen to our body, or we misinterpret what it says. Your body will always react to your most inner truth. Even if you do things that you think are in accordance with your values or in accordance with what you like, if it's not meant for you, your body will show you. Maybe you will get tired, or you will get headaches or tummy aches or whatever, but your body will definitely react if something is not right for you. And I think this can get quite confusing, because our body sends a lot of signals, and a lot of signals might also have to do with anxiety or something else. And I will talk about this a little bit later in this video, but you can definitely train yourself to understand your body better. And I think a great exercise to do this is to ask yourself simple questions and see how your body reacts. Let's say the next meal is lunch and you have to decide between pizza and a salad. Ask yourself, do I want to eat pizza? And see what your body says. And then ask yourself, do I want to eat a salad? And then see how your body reacts. And this might be a very, very subtle reaction. So you have to be very attentive and you have to listen to this first reaction in your body. And it's often like the slightest contraction. To me, it's often in the area of my belly where I feel a slight contraction, and to me that signals that it is a no. And if it's a yes, it might be a feeling of a slight expansion, and this can also be in your belly, but maybe you also feel it in your chest. It can differ a little bit. So really figure out how your yes and how your no feels in your body. And when you start with small questions like that, over time it will get easier to hear those reactions and those answers. And you will also be able to ask bigger questions and get more reliable answers to them. For some people, it also works very well to watch their breathing. Maybe your breathing changes if it's a yes versus a no. So yeah, it can be very individual, but the key is to really listen to your body and observe your body when you ask yourself a question. Now, listening to your body comes with a caveat, and I mentioned it earlier. It's not always so easy to really tell if a reaction is really a no or if it's something else, like, for example, fear. Because in my experience, fear can feel very similar to a no. Fear is also a feeling that is contracting and that makes me smaller. And I find it so confusing to know what is fear and what is a no. Because some things might be right for you. You might be just fearful, and your body might tell you that it is afraid, but maybe deep down it would be a great experience for you to make. And it also makes perfect sense because your body wants to protect you from something that is probably embarrassing or dangerous. But if we want to expand, if you want to grow, we have to take a risk sometimes, and we have to do things that are maybe in the moment a little bit uncomfortable in order to become the person that we truly are. Because if you live only according to your fear, you will never be able to truly be yourself and to live authentically. So how to figure out if it's a no or if it's fear? I have to admit it's something that I struggle with too. I still am figuring out how this really works, but I read something that I find quite helpful when it comes to distinguish these two reactions. And it's that a no is usually more quiet than fear. Usually a normal no is not alarming and it's not loud. It's just this subtle feeling, and you can really feel it if you want to make a simple decision, like I mentioned before with your food, or if you want to decide if you go out tonight or if you stay at home. It's just this quiet and slight contraction in your body that will tell you no. But if it's fear, it will be much louder and maybe it will be alarming. Maybe it will make you a little bit nervous when you think about something. So let's get back to this example. If you want to go out or if you want to stay at home, if you have, let's say, social anxiety and you would love to go out and to meet people, but you are scared to do so, then your reaction will be nervousness. You will think about going out and get nervous. But if you were relaxed around people, if you really enjoy being around people, but you are just not in the mood for it that evening, then the no would be very quiet and it would be very clear and it would not make you nervous at all. Another thing that is very helpful is to really listen to this first nudge that you get, because Fear is often something that comes only after a couple of milliseconds. Often, when we think about something that we want to do, maybe we get a yes, and then milliseconds later, we get this no because fear kicks in. And if you are very attentive, you might feel this yes in the first millisecond. And that is the true answer, and not the fear that comes after you have thought about it a little bit longer. And if you feel fear, you can also sit with it for a little while and really reflect on it. Maybe you can journal on it and really ask yourself, why do I feel this fear? Is it that I really don't want to go? Or might there be something else beneath this fear? Maybe it's not actually the fear to meet other people. Maybe there is something else behind it. Maybe you have the fear of feeling left out in a group of people. Or you might even have the fear to leave the house and use the train or use your car. There are so many possibilities, and it might really help you to figure out what that fear really is, to be able to overcome it and to figure out if you want to do something or not. And when you find out that you really would love to do something, but you are just fearful, it is also very helpful to reframe the fear. I mean, nervousness or joy or fear basically provoke very similar reactions in your body. All of these emotions can feel very exciting and activating, and you could just think about fear as a lot of joy or nervousness for something that you love to do. So if you want to go out and meet new people, instead of feeling like, oh, I have so much fear, I'm so scared to go out, you could also tell yourself, oh, I'm so excited to meet these new people, or I'm so nervous. And I think that is super helpful to distinguish between fear and a no, because if you can reframe it to nervousness or joy, you will feel a little bit of an expansion. It will feel a little bit more expanding, a little bit more alive and open. And a no never feels expanding or open. It's always closing, and it's always very quiet. So this could give you another very good sign. But yeah, as I said, it's not so easy to do. It takes a little bit of effort to be able to listen to your body. And I think a great tool to calm down and to be able to really hear your body is meditation. And if you want some tips on how to meditate and how to make it a daily habit, you can click on this video, and I will see you there. Thank you so much for watching.